News you can trust, I guess. Let's get this out of the way, shall we? This one happened a few days ago. But it's big news, top story tonight. Skaven coming with 4th edition. Which is what we've been saying, actually, for a long time.
Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Actually, no. The sources are pretty good on this one, and been kind of saying this one. Yeah, it's Skaven. Boy, it's kind of nice that they're getting new stuff. Here's a sprue. Here's another sprue. You will notice that they are push fit, which could imply that the additional rumor of it being a big old starting 4th edition release double army thing might be holding up. Someone photoshopped all the pieces of this thing and kind of put them together via photo hop into a fucking sick scryer shoot gun pushed by rats. Shit's sick. Great work there. Some kind of mini catapult. Some kind of mini gun, maybe, on a thing. Good evening to Texas with Soren. Isn't it more likely it's a new model for a Dongbringer box? I don't know, maybe. Constant screaming. Oh, hey, I forgot. DG Samurai, thanks for the tier 1, by the way. 29 months. Your comment is big, and you were the first one to post in chat this stream, and it was with a tier 1 sub. Nice timing, good aim, and good work. New lightning cannon. It doesn't quite look like a lightning cannon. It looks like maybe a halfway point between a rattling gun and a lightning cannon weapon platform. Anyway, shit's sweet and good. Skaven is one of the oldest and most made fun of lines in Age of Sigmar. Actually, they hold the record for the oldest model still for sale in all of Games Workshop, I think. And that's one of their little rat foot heroes, which is metal. And it was made in 1993, and it is still sold today. No longer. They've been waiting for one of those Slaves to Darkness style model line refreshes for a while. They're finally getting it. Good. This is what I always say they should do, and they did it with Seraphon a little bit. They did it with Slaves to Darkness a little bit. I'm very much looking forward to them doing it with Skaven a little bit. Switch hats, sure. Push fit are always a favorite, and you don't know why people are cautious around them. Because it just works better to glue stuff together. My advice to people assembling push fit models is to clip off the parts that should be push fit and just glue them together normally. Because it works better. In my IMO. It's weird because I'm reading your post, Trouble Vision, and I've never heard anyone in my life before now prefer push fit. So that's a new one for me. But the stream is called Hot Take Line. And so that's a great hot take. It's an opinion I've never heard. Was this the hot take the previous stream missed? No, we're done with those. I just don't have a plan for the stream because I've been working and kind of sick the rest of the week. And so I'm like, what if chat room gives me the content for once? What if they come at me in chat and we just talk about it? Big gaps? Yeah, big gaps as well when it comes to painting. Very rarely do they fit perfectly. Just got here, what are we looking at? New Skaven for 4th edition. Just cut the push fit part. Yeah, that's what I usually recommend, is to cut the push fit part out.
Which prime?
And just glue it together normally. Symphony of Steel, thanks for the prime for 17 months. Please provide content. Technically I am. Chill. You know what? I have my own hot take here. I've seen people online that are like, these leaks, we hate leaks. It ruins the surprise. And I gotta say, these people are bitches. Doesn't make any sense to me. Somebody give me the other side of this argument. I want to know about stuff as soon as possible. I like leaks, because then I know earlier. And I want to know early, you know, as soon as possible, really. You refuse to believe those people are genuine? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I've seen it in Magic the Gathering. That's why I made a rule on my Discord. On my Discord, I made a rule in the Magic the Gathering section. Before sets come out, everybody puts them in spoiler text, like pictures of the new cards that are about to come out, so that you have to click the stupid thing to see the picture. And I'm like, don't do that. That's banned. I've banned the use of spoiler images in Magic. And everybody who I told about that, and it's a gentle reminder, hey, just so you know, you probably didn't read the pin, because nobody reads the pins, but spoiler images are banned. If you're talking about a card, just post the card. I'm not trying to click on the stupid thing. And ain't nobody trying to avoid spoilers for game pieces. This isn't Snape kills Dumbledore. This isn't JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, that one big spoiler that whatever, right? These are game pieces. This is a model for Warhammer. This is a Magic card that's about to come out. But I think it's a rule like everywhere in the Magic community. Like, they're coming from outside of my Discord and they're entering my Discord. And they're used to every Magic Discord and every Magic community being like, ooh, you can't post spoilers because somebody might be trying to avoid spoilers. Oh, word? You're trying to avoid spoilers for game pieces. And then you're also visiting 10,000 person Discords that only ever talk about Magic and new releases. Hey, I'm not saying someone's at fault here, but you do need to take a little responsibility for yourself. I don't think this person exists, and if they do, they're a bitch. I'm not trying to change my life around them. If you're going to be so weird as to get all huffy and puffy about, ooh, there's a new 2/2 creature coming out, like, that's on you. You're the weird one. The whole world does not need to bow to your weirdness. Fucking chill. Anyway, and it's the same thing with this. It's the same thing with Warhammer products. This is a model. This is a Skaven model. It's a game piece. It's not the end of Dune 2 that comes out tonight. I don't know. To me, it's very different. I don't need to invent imaginary people to tiptoe around. I gotta do that plenty already. It's tiring. Symphony of Steel. Thanks for the Prime. I appreciate it. Why is even just chatting Warhammer content says Umo Treacle? Because I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff. And so some of it's going to be Warhammer, and some of it might be Persona, and some of it might be Magic. And I'm going to be responding to people. You know, there's going to be just a bunch of talking. And so I decided... the fucking Eris shit last night. I decided on a compromise for it being called a just chatting stream. So the MILFs who run Twitch don't get mad at me. But maybe they would anyway, I'm not sure. You wonder who will go up against Skaven in the box fit? Probably Stormcast, right? It's always Stormcast. I don't have a leak there. But it's usually Stormcast at the start of editions, so probably that. Which is a little sad because Stormcast could go another 10 or 15 years without an extra model being printed for them. Their cup overfloweth, they have plenty. They're closing in on 100 War Scrolls. Fucking chill. But I guess it worked for Space Marines, so they're trying to do it with Stormcast, although not as much as with Space Marines, which is good, actually. There's no other side of this argument from anyone who matters. People who want to be surprised by the MTG Booster Pack content are not real players of the game. They're real players, some of them. I just don't think their opinion matters. That's it. It doesn't matter. You can't be trying to do something really weird and get super offended by something very normal and not offensive. And then cause the whole world to change for exactly you. I don't know. Accept that you're the weird one, and that your weirdness is going to put some not even roadblocks, little speed bumps in your way. It's the same thing with me. I never go outside. And so, like, I'm a hermit, right? I wouldn't expect the hours that places are open in the entirety of America to contort themselves to my personal sleep schedule. You know, I would like to go grocery shopping at 3:55 a.m. because it's a natural time for me. However, the grocery stores are closed, and they're not assholes for being closed. I kind of would be if I was going to demand that they'd be open and people be awake at that time to run the cashier. I don't know. Chill. If they leak that your new battle tome will be obsolete in a month, so don't bother buying it, well then that's good. You saved money. You should like leaks then. You know? You saved $50 or whatever by not having to buy a battle tome. So in that case, the leak helped you. Dangerously cheesy. I think that just gives me more ammunition. How are leaks different than official spoilers? To the customer, essentially zero. Leaks have less, pizzazz, right? Less production value around them. Do we look at the Photoshop somebody did of it? Yeah, you know, I can just put that up. Because it kind of looks like something. Here it is. There you go. First off, eat shit for life. Can't spoil a book that's been out forever. You for sure can. You can. But if you haven't read it, and it's been 30 years, the chances of you getting spoiled on it increase over time. Now, if somebody you know knows you haven't read it and spoil it on purpose, well then now they're being a dick, but this is a pretty specific situation, right? Wondering what old Stormcast get removed to Legends? Stormcast are so new that nothing they have could be properly defined as old, I don't think. Talk to me when half your line is Finecast. Sit in the corner with a birthday hat. And it's not your birthday. Ahem. 30 years since the oldest Skaven model was released. Yeah, it was 1993. A young Richard Garfield in college was currently inventing Magic the Gathering and writing Time Walk on pieces of paper while inventing the game of Magic. And one of the Skaven models that's still for sale today was printed that year. But no longer. We won't be able to make that joke for much longer, so I'm gonna make use of it. I'm very happy for Skaven. I'm excited for them. When in 94? Because depending on the answer, it was either older or just younger than me. According to Vince Venturella, who gave me this stat, it was 93 that they were, like they finished making the mold for the thing, and it came out either 93 or 94, one of those two. It would have been early. Potentially older than most Warhammer players worldwide. Acolytes are 100% getting removed. Good. Savvy art older than you. Oof. Turns out I'm older than you too. Now you're turning 30. Oh, that's it. As soon as you hit 30, don't bother counting anymore. It doesn't matter. It no longer matters. When you're a kid, age matters a whole lot to you. You know, you're 1 year older than some kid in middle school or whatever. You know, in Japan, they be using senpais and stuff like that, and kohais. Oh, that's just some kid you say in high school as a first-year high school student against the last-year middle school student or whatever. Ooh, I'm 16, I can get my temporary driver's license. Ooh, I'm 18, I can go shoot people in a foreign country for the military or whatever. Oh, I'm 21, I can finally gamble. Now we're smoking and drinking. Well, we were drinking way before 21, but now I can legally drink. Age matters a lot to kids, but after 30, it doesn't matter. You're just old. That's it. There's varying degrees of old, but it doesn't matter much. Still banking on COVID years, not counting, so technically you're 28. Oh, sure. Yeah, however you want to spin it. As a Skaven player, you like this time of waiting. No point in getting anything new since no idea what models are going to stay. Half the range is old. You can just chill and kind of simmer a little bit in hopium. And maybe look forwardium, if you will. I don't know, I'm hype about it. Skaven hold a special place in my heart. Because... So, Age of Sigmar, right? It has a partially deserved reputation for being an over-the-top version of Warhammer Fantasy. And it only kind of is that. Warhammer Fantasy is pretty over-the-top. There's potato sack people, and there's a book or two that feature peasants and stuff, but it's high fantasy. And it's for sure over the top. And AOS is arguably more over the top. I would say it is more over the top, maybe. But at least conceptually for the armies and stuff like that. So, but with Skaven, what has been happening with Warhammer armies as Age of Sigmar has matured over the editions is whenever there's an update to one of the leftover fantasy factions, dare I say, a touch boring or plain. And I know some people like that. I happen to like vanilla. It's one of my favorite flavors. It's delicious. Vanilla is a true excellent. I love vanilla. People use it to mean bland or boring or something like that. But I like vanilla. And some people like just Lord of the Rings. Like, I want my elves, I want my high elves, I want my dwarves. You know how interesting I want my dwarves to be? They got beards, they're mad about everything, they got a book of grudges, they get big armor. I just want normal dwarves. I heard this a lot in people who like fantasy and only played AOS grudgingly. They're like, can we just have some normal people? Some normal horses? Does everything have to be 3 different types of cats duct taped together with a Stormcast on it? And having seen a lot of the Stormcast mounts, first of all, those people are right. That shit's kind of stupid. But second of all, kind of boring. Just not for me, I like it when they get interesting. And so, what has typically happened with AOS armies, when they get their second line, or when they finally get their Age of Sigmar thing, they get Age of Sigmarified. We got Naked She-Elf Frenzied Berserkers, Daughters of Cain. Alright, now they got their AOSified package. What do they get? Huge Lamia, Medusa, demigod, a bunch of snake ladies. We're AOSifying them up, right? And everybody else kind of gets that as well, as they get their second lines. I say second line, but it could be any number, right? Anyway, Skaven is like the one army that doesn't need that. Dwarves in Age of Sigmar are just, you know, it's dispossessed. I'm talking dispossessed here from cities. They're just normal dwarves. If you did normal dwarves in AOS, you would have to soup them up somehow. You'd have to make them over the top a little bit. You'd have to do something interesting with them. Look at how wacky humans got when they got their second line in cities. So much character, so much silliness and weirdness, and I don't know, almost a little cartoony at times, but that's GW's thing. You actually don't need to do that to Skaven. They were the one thing that was already really interesting and kind of crazy. So I think they're still going to, but probably not as much. They don't need to. Ahem. You ever tried Tonka Bean? I have not. Is that a truck? It's like Vanilla's cousin flavor-wise. Interesting. I'll try it though. I like Vanilla Bean. You hope Skaven don't get a huge detail bump, just a good cleanup. Remove the Play-Doh monster proportions, and it'll make them a pain to paint them if they're super detailed. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about it. You'd have to make them ride around in metal balloons and snort aether. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. You gotta make them super interesting. And take big chances at getting creative. And sometimes your big risks you take don't pay off. Like with the Longhorns. But you try them anyway. Skaven was already insane in concept and blew up the moon with warpstone rockets, and nobody cared or called out of setting stuff like to do with KO. That's because one was the game they liked and the other is the game they didn't like. That was the reason. Skaven tech is more sci-fi nonsense than anything else, and they get a pass, yeah. They just unvanillaed the old dwarves and elves because GW wanted to own them. When they're vanilla, GW doesn't really own the design completely in terms of branding. Yeah, and it fucked them up. That lawsuit, what is it, the Chapter House one? I can't remember which one. It messed them up in their head a little bit. And it wasn't, I don't think it was one of the main reasons why, according to what's-his-name's interviews, it wasn't. But it was one of the reasons, it wasn't one of the main ones. But they're like, we gotta cut this clean, we have to own everything. We have to own our own stuff. We can't just coast on Tolkien's legacy forever, because apparently you can't copyright that. You want wolf rats and some sort of giant rat ogre hero, simple as. One was the game they heard about in Total War, and the other was the game they don't like. Yeah, that's true, but they own 40k as a setting, so there's really no need to reinvent the wheel or make a 40k too. No, there's not. The only thing was, I think they wanted to try to see if they could own Space Marine as a copyrightable term, but I think they lost that one. For obvious reasons. Space Marine has been around since before GW. Kind of marketed as such. I don't even mean legally, but also because GW wants people to think Games Workshop Fireslayer and not Tolkien Dwarf when they think Dwarf. Yeah, true. It's also easier to Google for search terms. I know they probably don't care too much about that, but it's in there somewhere. Like new version of rat swarms like Nurglings. Did they change the faction names in 40k? Yeah, you know, I noticed that they did that, but I wasn't following when and why. Because back in college, I had friends who played 40k, and they were playing stuff like Eldar, Dark Eldar, what is it? The witch hunters, what are those called? Ordo Inquisitoria, I don't know, something like that. Guy named Chuck Dave played Imperial Guard. There was a Blood Angels player who was playing out of a fucking magazine in a binder because they didn't have a book for 3 editions or something like that. But they changed those. I don't think they're called Eldar, Dark Eldar anymore. They have weird and much worse names. Craft World and something else. Astra Militarum sounds cooler than Imperial Guard, so at least I agree with that one, just because of... I don't have any history with it. It sounds cooler, so that's it. Yeah, Eldarian Drukari. Stupid. I like Eldar and Dark Eldar better. I like Space Elf and Space Dark Elf better, you know? Most people still say IG, Imperial Guard, instead of AM. I mean, you're gonna get people just calling it the old thing forever. Every other time I say the word commander, in my head I say EDH. And sometimes I say EDH by accident. You'll just have people that are old and can't change the way they say something. It's no big deal. You're going through the Old World rulebook, and in lore section they retroactively renamed Malekith to Malarian. I don't know the significance of that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Voika main. I never played fantasy, and I don't care about Old World, so I don't know the implications of that. If you make something you want it to be distinct, yeah. You want it to be distinct, that makes sense. Malal lawsuit and its reverberations are funny. Right. The character was Malekith in fantasy, but they renamed him to Malarian for Age of Sigmar. Oh, for the timeline, I see. He wasn't a god before, he had a different name, okay. Huh. Is that something where, like, people are mad? Or is it something where, like, ostensibly people are mad, but really it's not anyone in great number or in importance? In fairness, though, there were a lot of demigod-like or gods from fantasy that moved into AOS with different names. Fake mad? Okay, fake mad, yeah. Law was supposed to be the 5th chaos god, but they didn't own the name and some other nonsense. Okay. Hey, speaking of the 5th chaos god, that would be the Skaven. Usurped Malal's place. Get out. Lawsuit destroyed. Malekith is a mythological name, which is not copyrightable. Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. Slouching Beast. Good call. It's funny because in actual real human history, people get renamed. Charlemagne, for instance. Yeah. And in real human history, a whole lot of people have the same name. You know, there's probably 100,000 really important Pauls in all of history, right? But just for the sake of the reader, they gotta have everybody have a different name. You think the name thing is something that people will just laugh to GW about at this point? I mean, I guess it's been enough years now after GAW typed Elves, you know, that I think Duardin is a little more reasonable. That's more reasonable. Duardin instead of dwarf. Okay. Aelv. Nah. It's still dumb. Yeah. 8 years later, Aelv is dumb. It still is. This isn't hot take hour. I guess this is cold take hour, because it's my take. They should have gone with Dawi, if you ask me. Dawi sounds stupid. Pure honesty hour. Call in with your hot takes. 1-800-420-6900. Or just type them in chat. And I can respond with pure honesty. They should not have gone with Dawi. Dawi sounds dumb. Sounds like baby talk. Don't like it. Big Brother has repeated his fake word long enough for me to start believing that milk is milk. Malk, now with vitamin F. Dweemer is free, right? Bezda doesn't own it? Dweemer, huh? Squat wasn't their finest hour for naming. It was for its time. Squat is a very 80s sounding and feeling name for a space dwarf. I think it actually fits right in. It didn't age particularly well, but it feels right for the time that it was created in. Some things are timeless, some things are time-locked, it's fine. Droger and Whites want to have a word, alright. First time caller, long time listener. You like Duarden generally, rolls off the tongue better than Aelves or Oryx. Oryx is fine. I actually like Ogor, I think that's kind of nice. Ogor is fine. Oryx is slightly less fine, but still maybe okay. Elves, to me, is the worst one. Squat feels like a racial slur. Well, yeah. I mean, in a fantasy way, sure. What about Lizardmen? Changed to Seraphon? Lizardmen was stupid. Seraphon is cool. That one gets a thumbs up from me. You got men and lizard men. Dumb. Seraphon was the right choice. Sounds spaceshipy. I don't know. It brings to mind all the Seraphon stuff in a way the Lizardman is just, I don't know. It brings to mind being outside of Aguk, fighting wiggly green guys for some stupid quest, and now this one runs away and chains another group and they're casting spells. Fuck those guys. Geats is a banger. Geats is a good one. I like that one. Gloomspite Geats. That's a solid one. Ogres like Kiki and Boba. Oh yeah, where it sounds like what it is. It sounds large and round and strong. And a little dumb. And a little evil, you know.
Big body.
Big body. True, Arterius. Thanks to bits.